Hi, my name is Olivier Pendo, and I'm here to talk about some psychology concepts. First of all, I'm going to summarize the video that I watched talking about happiness. Secondly, I'm going to evaluate the two videos and basing on the scientific claims. And finally, I'll talk about some kinds of stress that are found at a workplace and the way we can manage them successfully or unsuccessfully. In the first video, it is the video by Brandon Burchard. He saying about a secret to being happy and how to be happy in life. So he's saying that happiness is usually comes from the orientation we have toward the world and how we look at the past with gratitude, and this will help us to be free in the present and to be optimistic for the future. Because the future we have to be optimistic that it will be fine. Now Brandon give the basics of happiness where he talks about common sense. He talks about physically happiness, and also when he talks about relationships, and where he talks about spiritually. It means we have there are four basics of being happy, according to Brandon. Then he talks about common sense. He says that uh, we need to be grateful for the past, and that will help us to be free in the present, and also this will help us to anticipate the future with by being optimistic. So we need to be optimistic for the future, knowing that the future will be good, knowing that the future will be fine. Then he says about how we can be happy physically. So we need to do some practices so that we may be physically happy. He first of all say that we should sleep 8 hours. He said that we should eat greens. He said that we should avoid sugary food. And then those are practices that we should do in order to be physically happy. In relationships, we need to know how we are taking our relationships with much consideration. So how are we taking our marriage? How are we considering our relationships with our relatives? So with our relationship, we may be also happy. That's why Brandon said that in a relationship, if we are okay with our relationships, we can also be happy. Finally, Brandon said that we can also be happy spiritually. When we think about what God has done for us, we can be happy. We are blessed. We know that we have potential that God has put in us. So being spiritually happy is to be grateful, to thank God for what we are and for what we are doing. So being spiritually happy is also an asset, according to Brenda. The second video is the video by Sonja. Sonja also gives some practices that you can do so to be happy in a lifetime. Sonja said that it is like a study that an experiment she conducted. She said that it is a Chinese proverb when she said that if you want to be happy for an hour, you need to take a nap. If you want to be happy for a day, you need to go fishing. If you want to be happy for a month, you need to get married. If you want to be happy for a year, you need to inherit a fortune. And if you want to be happy for a lifetime, you need to help someone else. For Sonja, she shows that uh, the, taking a nap or going fishing or getting married, they are things that happen in our life, and sometimes a humankind needs to be acquainted to changes that can happen in life. So changes that can happen in our life shouldn't cause us to be unhappy. So we need to do our best in order to be happy in our life. And she's also saying about one American president, the 43rd president, who said that the benefit of helping others is beneficial. Then she showed that our generosity is more needed because it can help, it can lead us to be happy, because when we are helping others, it is like we are showing them that we are generous, and the more you are generous to people, the more you are becoming happy. So another experiment that she did, or that it was acts of kindness. So whereby uh, there were students or participants that were told to go and do at least 5 acts of kindness to other people for a period of 6 weeks. So people went to, or participants went to do some acts of kindness. Some of them helped their friends. Some of them visit people at hospitals. Others said that they did many things to other people that could make them happy. And finally, there was another one who said thank you to his professor. So all those acts are really helpful, because they can make us happy, because we have also made others happy. After those experiments, Sonja said that the findings from the experiments were that the students who did more acts of kindness got more happiness. More. It means the more they did acts of kindness, the more they were happy. After watching these two videos, I had to evaluate and see which one is scientifically supported, uh, which one has got a good scientific claim. First of all, we should know that a scientific claim is when a research is proved by evidence, by proofs. It can be statistics, it can be numbers, it can be any factor that supports your research, or that supports the data you got from the research. After analyzing and evaluating and watching the two videos, I found out that the first video is not scientifically supported, because Brendan is saying that to stay emotionally happy is to stay physically happy. So there is no evidence for that. He also said that if we want to be happy, we need to sleep 8 hours, we need to drink much water, we need to avoid sugary food, we need to eat greens, we need to be happy. So he didn't show any evidence. He didn't show from where he got that data. After evaluating the second video by Sonja, I found out that it is scientifically supported, because she shows, first of all, the hypothesis of her study. Secondly, she mentioned the participants in her study. Secondly, she mentioned the activity that was done. And finally, she also she mentioned the outcome of the activity that was done. Finally, I'm going to talk about the causes of stress and kind of stress that can be found at a workplace. At a workplace, there are many causes of stress and kind of stress. First of all, you can find that you have a lot of uh, things to do, like much responsibility, that can cause stress. Secondly, when a worker has long hours, working hours. Thirdly, when the worker is working under pressure, and also working under dangerous situations or dangerous conditions. All of those can be causes of stress. It's very important to deal with stress at the workplace, because if we don't deal with stress at the workplace, there might be negative impacts towards ourselves, also toward the company we are working for. The company we are working for, if we are stressed, there might be negative impacts like being absent, coming late, or submitting wrong deliverables, those can be the impacts of managing badly stress. Secondly, there are also some effects of stress upon ourselves. First of all, when we are stressed, we can feel headache, we can suffer from stomach ache, we can suffer from backache, we can have also bad emotions. So all of those can be impacts of stress upon ourselves. I remember having experienced stress in my life. One day I was teaching because I was a teacher, and I got a message that my brother was admitted to hospital. Then I was really shocked by the message, and I went to see the school responsible to ask for permission if he could allow me to go and attend to my brother, because I was the only one person who could attend to him. Then when I went to see the school manager, he refused that I couldn't go home. Then I was totally stressed, and I felt as if I was totally angry. So when I was trying to teach, I couldn't. I spent my day without teaching, and it was of course a problem because I, I didn't finish my program of the day. So the problem I had was that I was not able to manage my stress, to be optimistic. To be optimistic is to have hope for the future, to hope that, to believe that the future will be good. Result for me of not having been able to manage my stress, I was obliged to teach the lessons that I could teach that day, to teach them the following day. And for the following day, I was obliged to make a catch-up so that I could finish my program. Dealing with stress is really important because I remember when I came to Kepler, I was not really acquainted, or I couldn't support, or I couldn't really support working working at many things at once. Then it came to pass when we were given assignments to work on at Kepler, and they gave us 3 assignments to work on it was on the same day. Then I wondered what to do, and they told us to submit without being late. So it was like a challenge for me. How could I work on 3 assignments at once? So what I did, I tried to work on the assignment which was difficult for me. So the assignment which was difficult for me, I tried to work on it first, and when I finished it, I submitted it, and then I worked also on the second assignment, and I finished it, and finally I found out that after working on the third assignment, I found out that it was not really too hard. Then I found out that the, the more you find things difficult, the more they become difficult for you. So it was stressful on that day for me, but I managed to break my tasks into subtasks. So breaking tasks into subtasks can help achieve something. So if I could say that I could maybe do the assignments at once, maybe I could fail. But what I did, I had to work on the first assignment, I finished it, the second assignment, I finished it, and the third, I finished it. Then that helped me to get rid of stress.